One problem that we often have during prototyping is the need to create a temporary version of a part, usually 3D printed, that we don't have time to order just to try out an idea that we're not sure if it'll work yet. So here's an example of one such part. Let's say we want this gear from AndyMark. Well, we're not going to spend 3 days ordering it during prototyping. We're just going to look it up and 3D print it. So here's the product code. And here's a second copy of the website. I'm going to scroll down, find the CAD file for it, AM4214, download this. And the first thing you need to do anytime you download a CAD file is move it into the CAD folder. So in this case, whatever the cache CAD folder is for the project, move it from where it was downloaded into there. And next thing, if we're just going to 3D print it, we might as well come into the slicer, import, and open this file. So there's the gear, put it on a good face, and slice, right? Well, you'll see that a bunch of support material got added because this gear has this boss, just like this on both sides. And that makes it print slower, and it means that it's going to have all this material removed, which takes time and effort, and it's kind of a pain. But we usually don't need that on a prototype part, and we don't want to spend that extra time. So what we'll do is instead come over to SolidWorks, open up the file, and then we'll edit it so that it doesn't have this undesirable feature on it, this boss. So usually the way you take care of that is you need to do a cut of some sort. So we'll do extruded cut on this surface, and we could sketch a circle, but we can also just pick up this edge here and say convert entities. Extruded cut is taking a shape and cutting away in sort of a projection from the sketch plane. So you cut away in the direction of the sketch plane. So we're telling it we want to cut an object of this shape. And now it wants to know, okay, how far? Well, we don't want to go through all. That would just make a circle this big through the entire gear. We could do blind and select distance, but I'm going to recommend up to surface. Tell it we want to cut up into this surface right there. There you go. So it cut the boss off and it stopped at this face. The next thing is more subtle, and you wouldn't see it until after you went to 3D print, but we have experience in these issues. It's that the bore, the hex bore on here, is usually a little bit undersized when you 3D print it. The 3D printers will, print anywhere from a few thousandths under to a few thousandths over, and we want to make sure that this part fits. So we're going to do another extruded cut on this surface here, and we're just going to biggerize this hexagon a little bit. So there's a hexagon tool, or a polygon tool in SolidWorks. You can select 6 sides for a hexagon, put the center point at the origin, and come out here and sketch a hexagon. And the first thing you'll notice is that this is able to move around. We want it to be aligned with the existing hexagon. So first thing we're going to do is make this edge here, control click, parallel to the original hexagon. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to set the size. So I'll come up to Smart Dimension, click on 2 opposite faces. That's how a hex is measured. And bring this dimension out. And for this dimension, 0.505, 5 thousandths of an inch over the nominal half-inch hex will work. And it looks like it's the same size as the original, but if you zoom in, you'll see it is going to remove some material. So, we're done in the sketch. We can go exit sketch. And then it's going to ask us how far. So in this case, we could go, up to surface, but we can also do simple through all. Through all just means it's going to go until the end of the part. So that'll work. You can see in the preview that that's what you want. Cool. It doesn't look like it did anything, but if you take a measurement, click here, control click here, S for search, measure, it's 0.505, it's what we spec'd. So cool. So we're going to do a save as on this part. Just going to do a step file just like it came in. AP214 is fine. And we're going to call this that, but 3D printable. Then come back over to the slicer, delete the existing one, the old one. We'll add a new part, and we'll select our 3D printable version instead. Now, you'll notice it does not have the boss on this side that would have generated those supports. We'll place it on the bottom face, and go ahead and slice. And so we cut a few minutes off of the print time, especially important if we're making a few. And it's not going to be nearly as much of a bear to get this thing cleaned up and ready to go. So there you go.